Hey guys, what's going on? It's Yusuf, and welcome to the 2025 edition of the Six Talks Mock Draft. With the NBA draft only a couple days away, we're all waiting to see what potentially franchise-changing moves our favorite teams will make. This year, I wanted to keep it simple. This mock draft is going to be based on who I would pick if I was each team's GM. This is also assuming the unlikely scenario of there being literally no trades during the draft, not including the ones that have already happened, like Orlando's pick going to Memphis as a part of the Desmond Bane trade. I'll be giving some strengths and weaknesses as well as a player comparison that I see. And like last year, if there's a star next to their name, they're one of my gems in the draft. A player that I think could end up as either a steal or a player I believe could be an elite player in the NBA. But without further ado, let's get this mock draft started.
Six Talks.
Starting off with the first pick, the Dallas Mavericks are selecting Cooper Flagg, the forward out of Duke. This is obviously one of my gems of the draft. Cooper Flagg has genuine superstar potential. Size and length makes him a monster on defense. Efficient in college being as young as he is. He has an elite first step, explosiveness, versatility, IQ. He's elite in the pick and roll, and he can score on all three levels. Some of the weaknesses include his clutch gene. There were a couple games where he made some questionable decisions in the clutch. He also settles for jumpers, and the three-point consistency isn't all there yet. The player comp I have for him is Jason Tatum. I see a lot of similarities on the offensive side of the ball. And while he may not become as talented offensively as Tatum, he definitely will be an elite defender at the NBA level. Second overall, there's obviously a lot of talk of whether or not this pick gets traded, but if San Antonio stays put, I have them selecting Dylan Harper, another gem in this draft. Some of the strengths about him: he's a big, tall, athletic guard. He's the best scorer in this draft, and he has elite shot creating ability. He's also clutch and a smart combo guard with high playmaking ability as well. Some of the weaknesses are that he's turnover prone, his decision making isn't there yet, he's overly focused on scoring, and it's his consistency from three that needs to be worked on. The player comp I have for him is Cade Cunningham. The scoring and the size as a point guard really reminds me of Cade, and I'm sure San Antonio is really hoping that he has the same impact that Cade had for Detroit. Third overall is an interesting spot. Obviously Ace Bailey refused to work out with Philly, but I still think they should select him third overall. He's the most athletic player in the draft. He has a huge frame and a massive wingspan. He's a tough shot taker and maker, and the ceiling might be the highest in the class. He's a three-level scorer. He's elite defensively, especially as a shot blocker where he's incredibly explosive. Some of the weaknesses include his shot selection. There's some clips out there of him taking some really bad shots. His playmaking really needs to be worked on, and the combine listed him a lot shorter than we thought. The post-up game really needs to be worked on as well. And the player comp I have for him is a taller Brandon Miller or Paul George. I was thinking about using this pick on VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor, but with the overload at the shooting guard position, having McCade and Grimes, I just don't see where VJ would fit. So in this case, you definitely go with the player who has the most upside and is the most talented. Fourth overall is where I have Charlotte picking VJ Edgecombe, another one of my gems in this class. After Cooper and Dylan, I truly think VJ Edgecombe might be the most NBA-ready prospect in the draft. He's already an elite defender, he might be the best in the class, and he can guard multiple positions. He has great hands, he's explosive, he gets to the rim well, his athleticism is off the charts, the speed with ball, and the elite shot blocking for a guard is something to really look out for. Some of the weaknesses include his shot creation. He really relies on getting to the rim for his offense, mainly his three-point consistency, and can he become a reliable scoring option in the NBA? There are worries about him being too reliant on his athleticism at the college level. The player comp I have for him is Victor Oladipo, and I'm really proud of this comp because it's the explosiveness in his game, and Oladipo was a lockdown defender as well. He'll be a great addition to Charlotte's core here though, as they push to finally make it out of the NBA basement. Fifth overall, I have Utah selecting Tre Johnson, guard out of Texas. He's an elite three-point shooter, standing and off the dribble. He's a three-level scorer, he has elite ball handling, he has a high motor, a quick release, and he can run the offense as a PG, but he does thrive off the ball especially. Some of his weaknesses: he can tend to be a little bit of a ball hog. He struggles with court vision, struggles using his left hand, and he needs to get stronger, especially for defense where he can have the tendency to be bullied. Trey Murphy is the player comp, and I think Utah could really use a guard with the scoring ability of Tre Johnson. This could end up being an absolute steal of a pick. Washington is picking at 6, and it's another one of my gems as they're picking Illinois guard Kasparas Jakucionis. Some of his strengths include his age. He's only 18 years old. He's got a great handle, his shot creation, he's elite getting to the rim, and he's an elite playmaker. He can run an offense really well due to his high IQ. Some of the weaknesses are his consistency in shooting the ball. He's turnover prone. He struggles to keep up defensively sometimes, and he's not a very versatile defender with some poor athleticism as well. Tyrese Halliburton is my player comp. I just see so many parallels with the playmaking and their ability to go downhill. I think having a true point guard to run the offense in Washington is really needed right now, and this move would slide Jordan Poole over to the 2. I think a backcourt of Jakucionis and Poole would be super fun to look at for years to come. At 7, New Orleans is selecting Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. Some of his strengths include his age. He's only 18 years old right now. He gets to the rim well. He's got great shot creation. His ball handling's elite. He's a big guard with good hands on defense, and he has great passing IQ. Some of the weaknesses include his efficiency. He is turnover prone, and he has a poor shot selection. His three-point shooting needs to be worked on, and his decision-making on offense has left a lot to be desired. My player comp for him is Anthony Black. I think they're both very gritty defensive guards that set the tone on a nightly basis. Obviously, with DeJounte Murray rehabbing his Achilles injury, this would be a great spot for Fears to land and get some actual playing time to really develop into a reliable guard in the NBA. At minimum though, I think he'll be a pest and a very annoying matchup for NBA players going up against him. Brooklyn has a lot of picks in this draft, starting with the 8th overall pick, where I have them taking Derik Queen out of Maryland. He is the best offensive big in the class. He is an elite post game. He thrives going to the basket. He's physically strong, and he has a good handle for a big. He's also shown flashes as a great playmaker, especially from the post. He has great footwork and a soft touch as well. His weaknesses include that he's an undersized big. His three-point shot needs to be worked on. He's not a consistent enough defender, and there's questions about his defense at the NBA level. He also struggles to defend quicker players as well. I have 2 players for his player comp. I'm thinking of Zach Randolph and Boogie Cousins, 2 incredibly dominant post players. There's a lot of talk between him and Maluach, but I truly believe that the offensive talent as a big man is way too hard to pass up, even with the questions on defense. 9th overall, we have my Toronto Raptors picking, and I'm actually going to have them pick Carter Bryant out of Arizona, another one of my gems in this draft class. Some of the strengths are that he's efficient in college, he has explosive dunking ability, and he's a great 3-and-D player. He's strong with a good motor, he has defensive instincts and versatility at this age, and he has great catch and shoot ability with elite shot blocking for a wing. Some of the weaknesses include his low volume of shots in college. He needs to improve his playmaking and vision, and he lacked aggressiveness in college, so a lot of executives are wondering, can he create his own shot at the NBA level? For the player comp, if he can consistently hit his shot, I believe he can be at the level of former Raptor OG Anunoby with elite 3-and-D play. I see Carter Bryant as an instant rotational piece, with the Raptors desperately needing shooting, while he also fits like a glove into Darko Rajakovic's defense. Now, Phoenix has literally made me re-record this pick because they just traded KD to the Houston Rockets to get their pick back, so I have them selecting Khaman Maluach out of Duke. His main strengths include that he thrives in the pick and roll as a great screener and roller. He has elite rim protection, especially on the help side. He's capable of shooting the 3, which he showed at the combine. He's a lob threat, a capable rebounder, and he's very physically strong. Some of his weaknesses include that he's really raw offensively. He has no real playmaking ability. He had struggles consistently rebounding, including a 0 rebound game against Houston in the Final Four. He's a slow reactor offensively as well. The player comp I have for him is Mitchell Robinson as an elite rim protecting center, and I believe that his rebound will gain some consistency at the NBA level. I think their first priority has to be figuring out that 5 spot because Nick Richards definitely is not the answer there for Phoenix. Their main focus should be developing Khaman's offensive game, but at minimum, he'll be the first genuine rim protecting center that Devin Booker has ever had in his career. With the 11th overall pick, Portland is going to take Jase Richardson out of Michigan State. Jase Richardson was efficient everywhere in college. He has a good handle, he's a 3-level scorer with a high motor, and he has great playmaking skills with a high passing IQ. Some of the weaknesses include his low usage in college, his consistency from 3, his shot selection was poor, his screen navigation left a lot to be desired, and he can't really finish with both hands. The player comp I have for him is Cason Wallace. Portland has the opportunity here to select a high upside point guard who could very well develop into their starter after the Scoot Henderson pick didn't work out. He also adds to one of the more underrated young cores in the entire NBA. 12th overall, I have Chicago selecting French prospect Noa Essengue. Some of his strengths include that he's an explosive athlete, he's long with a big wingspan, he has lots of potential as a shot blocker, he has great versatility defensively, he runs the floor well in transition, and he's an interior threat offensively. His weaknesses include his rebounding, he plays too out of control sometimes, his strength, his weight, his physicality, and he has a tendency to settle for jumpers. The player comp I have for him is Bilal Coulibaly. The length and defensive versatility is just way too similar between them. Chicago are selecting a defensive-minded wing for the second year in a row, finally evening out their young core instead of overloading at guard again. All they need now is to figure out that 5 spot because they're going to be trading Nikola Vucevic soon, but at least now I can see the vision with this young core finally. Atlanta is getting this pick from Sacramento and they're selecting Kon Knueppel out of Duke. He's the best shooter in this class. He's a great passing lob threat, especially because a lot of his playmaking came from lobs with Khaman Maluach. He's good at cutting off passing lanes, and he's also NBA ready to help a roster right now. Some of the weaknesses are his handle, his athleticism, his lack of burst, which means he could be limited in transition. He has a low ceiling, and he's a really inconsistent defender. He truly does remind me of Chris Middleton, and if he can gain some consistency defensively, he will be a very solid player. I actually really like what Atlanta is building. They added defensive-minded players last year in Daniels and Richardson, and are now adding more shooting to surround Tre Young. I'd say they got a pretty fun young core building over there. San Antonio are getting the 14th pick from Atlanta, and they will select Asa Newell, big man out of Georgia. He has good rebounding, especially offensively. He has great hands offensively, and he can finish through contact. He creates his own shot well for a big, he's fast, he has confidence in his shot, and he's defensively very versatile. He has a great motor and he can really help a team right now. Some of his weaknesses include that he doesn't really have any playmaking game. He's shorter and has a smaller frame for a big. His consistency rebounding the ball and his 3-point consistency need to be worked on. His player comp is Mark Williams, but I do think he has a better 3-point shot than him. I think San Antonio leaves this draft with Newell and Harper, and they are ecstatic about this draft because it's 2 players that are young and can play rotational minutes right now. OKC have the 15th overall pick from Miami, and they will select Rasheer Flemming out of St. Joseph's, and he is another one of my gems. He was incredibly efficient in college, he's explosive, he can finish through contact, and he is an elite dunker. He's a capable 3-point shooter, he's a great 3-and-D wing, he has a big wingspan and it makes him a great shot blocker with a high motor, and he is NBA ready. He can help a roster right now. Some of the weaknesses include his lack of competition playing at St. Joseph's, he has no real playmaking ability, his shot creation needs to be worked on, his court vision, and he has questions about his perimeter defense. The player comp for him is Obi Toppin. He's a player that I genuinely see playing meaningful minutes on a team right away. He's the perfect role player to play alongside some of OKC's stars, and I believe if given an opportunity, he can showcase some of his 3-point shooting, and we know Mark Daigneault loves to give his rookies some big minutes. Also, seeing how Obi Toppin-like players have been contributing to NBA Finals teams for a couple years now, this is the perfect pick for OKC, who's looking to make it back to the NBA Finals right away next season, and for years to come. Memphis is picking at 16 from the Magic as a part of the Desmond Bane trade. Back-to-back gems as they're picking Nique Clifford out of Colorado State. His strengths include his elite rebounding, he was efficient in college, he had a great handle, he has a big frame, and he can score on all 3 levels. He's explosive, and he really loves the fadeaway midi. He's also a very solid defender as well. Some of his weaknesses include that he's an older prospect at 23 years old. He had a turnover problem in college, and he faced weaker competition at Colorado State. He still needs to improve in his court vision as well as a playmaker. This is the second player I'm comparing to Trey Murphy in this class. I just see so many similarities with the shot creation ability and the off-the-dribble scoring. This is a player that can play multiple positions and can help Memphis right away as they undergo a roster retool. At 17, Minnesota is getting this pick from the Pistons, and they're selecting Egor Demin out of BYU. Some of his strengths include that he's a 3-level scorer, he does well going to the rim, and he's an elite playmaker, possibly the best passer in the entire class. He has high IQ, he's a tall guard, and he's elite in the pick and roll. His weaknesses include him being turnover prone, his free throw shooting, his lack of athleticism, questions about his defense at the NBA level, his defensive versatility, and his efficiency. The player comp that I have, that a lot of people have actually, is Josh Giddey. There's a lot of similarities between their playmaking and the offense that they create. I actually think that talent-wise, Egor is one of the better prospects in this draft. I just think that in the late lottery, there aren't that many teams looking for a guard like him. But this could end up being a real steal for Minnesota if he fits well in that offense. Washington is getting this pick from Memphis, and they're selecting Collin Murray-Boyles out of South Carolina. Collin Murray-Boyles plays really well in the post. He excels going to the rim, and he has active hands. He's a solid passer with good rebounding, an interior scorer, and he's very strong defensively. Some of the weaknesses are his struggles from range. He's turnover prone, he's undersized at 6'7", and he's one-dimensional offensively. He mainly gets his offense from the post. The player comp I have for him is Draymond Green. I think selecting Murray-Boyles adds another great defensive-minded player to this young Washington core. And after using their 6th overall pick on an offensive player in Jakucionis, this balances out a really good draft for them. Brooklyn has pick number 19 from Milwaukee, and I have them selecting guard Ben Saraf. Some of his strengths are his age. He's young at 19 years old, his speed, his handle, and his shiftiness for his size. He finishes at the rim well, creates his shot well, and his passing ability and vision are very good. His weaknesses are his strength and physicality. He fouls unnecessarily, his footwork, his three-point shooting, and his discipline defensively. De'Aaron Fox is his player comp. I just see so many similarities with the speed, especially in transition and the finishing around the basket. If his shot can develop, he will be a very good guard in this league. At 20, Miami have Golden State's pick, and I feel like this has been mocked by everyone, but I have Miami selecting Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. Some of his strengths are his three-point shooting, his range, his off-ball movement. He has great footwork and court vision. He has great playmaking ability. He navigates the pick and roll well. He has good hands defensively, getting a lot of steals in college. His weaknesses include his size, his age, his strength, his inconsistency from deep, his finishing through contact and at the rim. He's more of a scoring guard than someone who can run your offense as well. The player comp for him is Andrew Nembhard. This is more so towards the offensive side of the ball. If he wants to be at the level of Andrew Nembhard, then his defense really needs to get better. Honestly, if I was Miami, I would look towards the direction of a rebuild instead of this retool they're doing. But if they want to retool, I believe Clayton is the best option when it comes to impacting winning right away. Utah is Minnesota's pick at 21, and I have them taking a really intriguing prospect in Joan Beringer. The strengths include his massive frame. He has a good motor, great hands offensively. He's an elite shot blocker, and he can guard on the perimeter as well. He's an interesting gamble if a team believes in his development, as he's only 18 years old right now. His weaknesses include his speed. He's really slow. He has no three-point shooting ability, and he's an incredibly raw prospect with no real offensive game. You could say he is the most boom or bust prospect in the class. The player comp I have for him is Joakim Noah, an elite defender, and if he can find his role on the offensive side of the ball, this will be great for Utah. I know they're looking at potentially moving Walker Kessler, so getting Joan Beringer to develop is the move at 21 for me. Atlanta's got their second pick in this draft from the Lakers, and they're selecting Maxime Raynaud from Stanford. His strengths include his elite dunking ability. He's a great rebounder with a big wingspan. He's a capable three-point shooter. He's solid in the post with a great defensive presence and rim protection. His weaknesses are that he settles for jumpers way too often. He might struggle against more physical bigs at the NBA level, and his lateral quickness and defensive mobility guarding at the perimeter is not the best. His player comp is Brook Lopez. He has the potential to be the defensive anchor of a team, and honestly, his rebounding is already better than Brook Lopez. I think Atlanta could really use Raynaud as another option at the 5, acting as a great pick-and-pop option with Tre. And honestly, I beg them, it's time to move on from Clint Capella. New Orleans acquired the 23rd pick from Indiana in exchange for Indiana's 2026 pick, and they're selecting Nolan Traore out of France. This is another really young prospect at only 18 years old. He has great speed with the ball. He has an elite handle with a great motor. He's confident and aggressive offensively. He has an elite playmaking ability with a really high ceiling. His weaknesses include his efficiency, his shot selection was poor, his strength needs to be worked on, his physicality needs to be worked on, and defensively, he's just not strong enough right now. His three-point shooting was poor, and he has a really low floor, which is exactly why my player comp is. At his ceiling, he could be a LaMelo Ball, but at his floor, it has to be Malachi Flynn. With that being said, I think this is the perfect pick for New Orleans. Take a shot on him and see if you can develop him in the G League while DeJounte Murray heals from his injury. OKC have the Clippers pick at 24, and I have them selecting Drake Powell out of UNC. Drake Powell is a long wing with a good frame. He can finish through contact. He's young, he has defensive versatility, and he has great timing when shot blocking. He's also a very capable playmaker and a really explosive athlete. His weaknesses include how raw he is offensively. He takes dumb shots due to over-aggressiveness, his shooting mechanics need to be worked on, and he wasn't too involved in UNC's offense, so it's not really the best gauge of his offensive ability. His player comp is Jaden McDaniels. The frame and defensive versatility is what gives me this comparison. I still can't believe OKC is potentially adding 2 great first-round prospects from this draft right after the NBA Finals, but here we are. Orlando has the 25th overall pick from Denver, and they're selecting Danny Wolf out of Michigan. Danny Wolf is a great ball handler for a big. He has 3-point shooting ability, he has elite playmaking ability, and he has great offensive versatility. His weaknesses include him being turnover prone, his free throw shooting, his rim protection, his lateral quickness and mobility as well. I've seen a few Alperen Sengun comparisons, but Sengun's defensive ability has drastically improved. So I'll give him the comp of Kelly Olynyk. I think he's one of the better playmaking bigs in this class, and offensively he's really good. So if he develops at all into even an average defender, he'll be a really good big at the NBA level. Brooklyn has New York's pick at 26, and they're selecting Will Riley out of Illinois. The strengths are his length, his big frame, he attacks the basket, and he's a versatile defender. He's a capable 3-point shooter with a lot of potential defensively as well. His weaknesses include his inefficiency at the college level, his consistency from deep, his consistency defensively, and his strength. He also tended to take too many contested shots in college. The player comp that I have for him is Nikola Jovic. Brooklyn has so many picks, so although I'd like for them to take a swing on a couple of prospects, I think it's alright to go with a safe option at 26 with Will Riley, especially as I have him falling in this draft. Brooklyn has back-to-back picks as well, because at 27, which was Houston's pick, I have them selecting Liam McNeely from UConn. Some of his strengths include his shooting, obviously, off the dribble and standstill shooting. He has a solid handle, he is capable of creating his own shot, his off-ball movement is elite, and his decision-making, finishing at the rim as well. His weaknesses include his athleticism. He needs to improve on his strength and his ability to defend one-on-one. His rebounding consistency wasn't there, and his explosiveness, so there's a lot of questions about if he can become an impactful defender. He has a really high floor, but a low ceiling as well. The player comp for him is Grady Dick. He's one of the better shooters in this class, but is really weak defensively. Something he needs to improve on, but I think Brooklyn wouldn't mind taking a swing on him at 27. At 28, Boston is selecting Adu Thero out of Arkansas. Some of his strengths include his elite dunking ability, he's a great athlete, he's a versatile defender with a high motor, he has great hands defensively, good shot blocking ability, and he's physically very strong. Some of his weaknesses include his inconsistency shooting the ball, his shot creation, his discipline defensively as he tends to gamble too much on defense, and he takes forced shots and drives. The player comp I have for him is Jonathan Kuminga due to the athleticism and the ability to finish around the basket. I think that Boston needs to add players that can help out their depth, especially with them potentially looking very different this year. I think that Boston needs to add players that can help their depth out, especially with them potentially looking very different next year. Adu Thero has the potential to be that spark plug for them off the bench right away. At 29, I have Phoenix using Cleveland's pick to select Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown. His strengths include his post-up game. He's a good rebounder for his size, his finishing at the rim. He's shown flashes of elite playmaking. He's also elite defensively with great hands, averaging 1.5 steals and 2 blocks. His weaknesses include that he's an undersized big, his consistency shooting the ball, his mobility defensively, and he struggles to keep up with quicker defenders, struggling to also guard in space. His player comp is Trace Jackson Davis. He's a little undersized for a big, but it didn't really deter him in college, so I'm interested to see how it looks at the NBA level. Phoenix did move up in the draft to select a big, but I think they can go upside here and select Thomas Sorber, hoping he's another prospect that they can develop. I also just don't see anyone as talented as Sorber here that they would rather pick at 29. And with the last pick in the first round, I have the Clippers using OKC's pick to select Johni Broome, the big man out of Auburn. His strengths include that he's strong and athletic, he finishes through contact well, he can shoot the three, and he's dominant on the glass despite his size, his screen setting, and his rim protection. The weaknesses include his struggles defending on the perimeter, he's an older rookie, his consistency from three, no real playmaking ability, and his defensive IQ guarding one-on-one is pretty poor. The player comp I have for him is Precious Achiuwa. The Clippers could really use some good minutes from Johni Broome off the bench, as they didn't really have a good option as a backup 5 last season. And that concludes the 2025 Six Talks mock draft. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know who you would want your team to pick this upcoming draft. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.